you.
Okay. Thank you for joining us today, everybody. So right now, I am in the company of greatness. I am now talking with one of our students. Her name is Zen Polvorosa. And apart from her other great scores, this interview is meant to highlight the fact that she scored band 9 in speaking. So, Ma'am Zen, did you know in the last 6 months we have had 4 band 8s and 1 band 9, you being the band 9. Okay. Yeah.
In the
But
last
before
how
we begin,
many
6
months?
months.
6 months, okay.
It started
But there was
December.
so the first
Yeah.
band line, when did that happen? But
We've
there
had
was
a
a band line before
we've had
me.
a couple of band lines before you. One of them was also from GBS, Sabrina. I'll be interviewing her soon as well. Yeah,
GVS also,
yeah. Also
GVS
from
from
GBS.
alumni.
Yes, GBS alumni. GBS, of course, stands for Global Visa Support,
Yes.
where Ma'am Zen was an applicant for the work study program. So Ma'am Zen is now in Canada. She actually scored band 8 during her first attempt. Correct, ma'am?
Right. The one in
Yeah,
Manila.
the one in Manila. And now she
Yeah.
took it a second time. She took the IELTS a second time because she needed it for her application for permanent residency. And that being the case, she just murdered it. Mom Zen, you're a murderer. You're wanted. Okay.
But
Before
a guru like you.
a guru, I
Like
like that
guru.
term. Yeah, a guru. Yeah, yeah. You make me sound like the Dalai Lama or something. But before we begin, what we will do today is instead of interviewing Ma'am Zen and find out information from her, the way we did with the last notable students, what we'll do is we will simulate a speaking test today, so that everybody watching this video will get an idea as to how a band 9 speaker in speaking in the IELTS speaking test sounds like. Okay, so before we begin, I'm
Pressure.
gonna go through the usual script of encouraging everybody watching this video to click like to this video and subscribe, and don't forget to hit the notification bell so that you will be updated whenever new content comes out. And I tell you, there's a lot of content coming out, especially if you're taking the IELTS, you'll get a lot of insights from this. And so, Ma'am Zen, before I begin the interview, could you introduce yourself first? I'm being rude. Yeah. Could you please tell us something about yourself first?
Okay. Yeah. Well, yeah. You just introduced me. So, like what Uni said, I also took my review sessions for IELTS under Juni's tutelage. Under
Wow, a nice
Juni's.
word. She's throwing the vocabularies already. Those were the days, right?
Yeah.
When
So.
yeah, when we were in class in Makati, so nice, no?
Yes,
Unforgettable.
you remember
Yeah,
that now.
yeah,
Okay.
like a huge number of students. That was like 40.
Yes, I think
Yeah,
so.
yeah, 40 students per class.
And then what else? Well, yeah, like Junie said, I'm now in Canada. I've been here for like 2 years, last March. So how time flies, no?
How time flies.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
I'm still here in the Philippines. Nothing changes. Okay, how are you doing overall, ma'am? You're doing great. Everything's peachy, so to speak.
Well, of course, there's the usual challenges being new in a foreign country, right? So, but I've already like I would say I've already adjusted,
Okay.
well, and but of course the pandemic and the lockdown it's really tough to deal with.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was a
Mm-mm.
untimely untimely an untimely coincidence, right? It just so
Mm-mm-mm.
happens that when you were there, that's when the pandemic struck. But I think it's better
Mm-mm.
that you were there rather than anywhere else, right?
Yes, 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 yes.
Yeah,
On hindsight, I would say, I'm blessed that I happened to be here already when
right,
the pandemic happened, the lockdown was declared.
right.
So
And
uh,
you still
it's
kept
not.
working despite all the lockdowns,
Yeah, I got to be hired. Yeah, I'm very lucky and blessed to have been hired. No, so I have no
right?
complaints, even if it's not a high paying job. But yeah, you can't complain because so many lost their jobs, and then
Right.
here you are, you got accepted,
Yeah, yeah.
and it's work from home at that,
Okay. We,
which
I'm sorry,
okay.
Ma'am Jen, to interrupt. We were just talking about the student who scored 8.5 in speaking. And she just
Mm-mm.
messaged, oh my God, can you imagine that? What a coincidence. She just messaged, I
Really?
mean, the message just popped up there.
Okay. So she got
Okay.
85. Okay.
She got an 8.5 for speaking. And she was the one
Mm.
we were talking about, the one who was asked about wearing a dress. I just had to mention it. It was
Ay,
so,
pala yun. Yeah,
yeah,
okay.
I was so curious. I mean, suddenly I get a message from her just when we mentioned it.
Yes, yes. The power
Yeah.
of what? The power of
I don't know. Like, it's like there's something in the universe that
yes.
clicked.
The power of being mentioned. No.
The power of being cited. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Ma'am Jen, wait. Just one final question. So when you get your permanency, does that mean that you automatically get higher rates at work? Is that how it goes?
No, not necessarily.
Not
Not necessarily.
necessarily. So there's no
No.
discrimination. You can be an immigrant. You can you
Yeah.
can be an applicant, and still you can get the right pay.
Yeah. Yes.
I see.
Mm.
What a great country.
Because
Beautiful.
like now, I'm me right now. I'm just on work permit, right?
Right.
So work
Yeah.
permit, like they don't ask you. They just ask, are you permitted to work in Canada?
That's it.
As like yeah, that's it. But they don't probe anymore.
Mm.
Um, whether are you working on being permanent resident? Are you getting it
I
any
see.
wala
That's so
namang
nice
ganun.
to hear. Oh,
As long
okay.
as you
I
are
thought like,
permitted to work.
okay, you're an immigrant, so you will only get this pay scale. And plus the fact that you're Filipino, so you get even lower. No, that
Yeah,
would,
wala. No, no,
that
yeah.
would be terrible, right? Okay.
On certain factors, I can't tell. But as far as like the
Mhm,
status of your being here, yeah,
mhm,
they don't really probe on it.
mhm.
That's just what they would like to be assured of, that you are allowed to work.
Okay. I
Permit.
guess that's why they're such a great country, right? They're such an equal
Mm.
opportunity of employer, right?
Mm,
Yeah.
mm, 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 mm.
Right.
Although, of
They
course,
don't look at you based on your nationality, the color of your skin, stuff like that. Right. Yeah.
Although, of course,
Okay.
in certain cases, maybe because of course, no place is perfect, right? So even
Mm-hmm.
if kahit konti lang, meron pa rin naman yung, you can still see some, uh, or you may experience some kind of discrimination, but it's not
Right.
like it's not widespread,
I
like
see.
it's
Okay.
um, and
Just one final question before I go
mm,
into the simulation. There's a lot of hate going on in the US, right? And I've heard of
Asian.
some cases, some isolated cases in the UK. How would you describe
Mm,
Canada, man? Is there such a thing? I mean, I
Asian
pity the
hate.
Filipinos in the US, like those in California, for example, in New York. Yeah.
Yeah,
Do you hear of
yeah,
these cases in
yeah.
Canada?
In Canada, I've early on I've read some reports, but
Right.
again, it's not something that is really maybe not as serious or as big
Mhm.
a problem in the U.S.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, generally,
That's terrible.
generally,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's not. So
Okay.
yeah, so I don't think
So
it's
let's hope.
really.
Yeah. Let's keep our fingers crossed. If
But of
everybody,
course, there are
yeah.
incidents. Maybe some incidents like that, but yeah, it's not as serious, as
Okay.
the one in the US, right? Because
Yeah.
it
Praying. Yeah.
yeah, it's really to start with, the population is really big compared to Canada. So
Yeah.
that's why there are more um, incidents, more instances of like the hate
All
crimes,
right.
the yeah towards the Asians.
All right.
Mm.
I
Because
think
of
they're
the
like nearly
population.
10 times bigger than the population of Canada. That's like 40
It's like
million for
30
Canada, right?
million.
38 million. Okay.
Mm-mm.
I think the US has like 300 million. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, between 250 to 300. Yeah,
Yeah. Okay. All right,
yeah.
Ma'am Zen. So this is a simulation of the speaking test. And so for this first part, I'd like to ask her, which is talking on. I'm sorry I have to put you on the spot.
Okay, painom muna ng water.
Okay. Yeah,
Okay,
can I get it?
a
Oh my God.
simulation of the which the task one or
The full speaking test.
yung 15
No worry,
minutes.
ma'am.
Ganon.
Don't worry. I'm sure this is just like child's play for you. Okay, for this
Mhm.
first part, I'd like to ask you about your hometown. Could you tell me about your hometown, Ma'am Zen?
Eh, Hometown in the Philippines, ano, syempre.
Yes. Not the new hometown. The one you grew up in.
Ah,
The one you grew up in. Yeah.
yeah, hometown by hometown, like where my parents hail
Where
or
you grew
I
up.
grew up, where I
Yes.
grew up.
Right.
Okay. Because yeah, although my parents are from the Visayas, from Iloilo and Negros Occidental, Bacolod, uh, but yeah, in our case, my brother and I, we were born and raised in Manila. Born and
Oh,
raised
okay.
in Manila. So
Where in Manila exactly?
in during our yeah until we were like preschool in Manila. But I don't remember very well, the place because we were
Mhm.
still really young. So the years where like when I was in grade 1, that's when we were already in Pasay City. So
Okay.
mainly that's where we spent our childhood, yeah, in Pasay
I
City.
see.
And
I
so I
see.
also went to like a Catholic school in Pasay.
Okay.
Yeah.
How was it
So
like growing up? Was it happy?
home in the school,
Rough? Yeah.
growing up, I mean, well, generally, say
Mhm.
a mix, a
Yeah.
mix of challenges and being just typical and normal
Mhm.
kids. But like I think I've mentioned this uh, the first time that as far as in the home, like
Mhm.
our looking back, our mom uh was a big influence talaga because
Mhm.
um as far as our like exposure to reading, to
Oh, I see.
to getting the updates,
Mhm.
being updated, abreast with current events, because our
Oh,
mom is a stalker for news. So like,
oh, she was.
oh yeah, talagang we call her nanay, yung nanay namin talagang like hindi kumpleto yung araw, like her day's not complete if she doesn't get
Mhm.
to read the papers. So we
So,
have
so you were
broadsheet.
raised to be very much
So
aware,
like we
political in
have
a way.
broadsheet. yeah, we have broadsheet
Mm.
papers in the house every day. As in like we have may suki siya na delivery na nagde-deliver ng
Okay,
newspapers. And
I see.
that went on for years.
I see.
Uh
So that's where you
during
got your vocabs.
So yeah. So I would think that news really is a very good, rich source if you want to
Yeah,
be get yourself acquainted and um the exposure to the language. News is very effective. It's a rich tool
right,
really as a
right.
source of material because if you note news is very simple, right? It's written
Mm-hmm.
simply because it's meant
Right,
to be understood easily, right?
right.
So simple simple English, simple writing, but with the strict uh, compliance to correct grammar, right?
Okay,
Mm.
right.
Diba? That's
Uh,
what it's all about, right? Hindi siya,
right.
it's not
Yeah,
literature, it's not poetry or
correct.
ganyan, but just
Yeah.
very simple and short, but correct grammar, right? So
Okay, I
it's
see.
very talaga, it's very foundational. It's
Did you
really
actually speak English at home when you grew
no,
when you're growing up? No.
not really, because like my parents are both Ilonggo, so
So you spoke Ilonggo,
we speak Ilonggo. Yeah, to this day I can
Hiligaynon.
speak Ilonggo. Yeah,
I
Hiligaynon, I can
see.
speak it fluently. I can sell you. Pwede kita ibenta, kumbaga.
You can
In
sell me in
Ilonggo.
Hiligaynon.
I
Okay,
mean, di ba yun
I
yung
see.
joke? Di ba yun yung
Yeah,
joke?
yeah. Okay.
Benta ka na, parang ganon. Because, yeah, we really, we speak Ilonggo because like,
Mhm.
in fact, yung nanay ko, she can't speak Tagalog as very well. So it's either Ilonggo siya or mag-English siya. Ganon.
Okay, I see. Um,
So, mm,
who still lives in this neighborhood of yours? Has everybody left
because in Pasay, actually
in Pasay?
from yeah, in Pasay, we were just renting at that time, so we didn't really have like
Mm,
just that we spent several years in Pasay, and then
mm-hmm.
after Pasay, like when I was like maybe like I was second year college, we
Mm-hmm.
moved out from Pasay to Parañaque.
Okay,
Paranaque area, okay?
I
And
see.
then stayed there for a number of years also until we moved uh, to Makati. By then, I was already like I was working already for I think with
Oh,
my first job.
okay,
We were,
I
we
see.
were and then again spent several years in Makati. But
Okay.
anywhere we went, we always
Mm-hmm.
have the newspapers of my nanay. Kasi nga,
Okay.
you can't really go
The
without
newspapers were always there.
without
Yeah.
newspapers, yung ganun siya
Yeah.
talaga. If
I
let's
see.
say we miss a newspaper sa house,
Mm-hmm.
ay, asahan mo yung newspaper nila sa office, dadalhin niya yun sa bahay. Yung ganun. And then,
I
as
see.
just the newspaper ha, in the evening, that's when the news programs on TV are aired, right? Usually in the
Right.
evenings.
Yeah.
Makikinig din kami, manonood din kami ng news sa TV.
Okay.
Alam mo yun,
I
it's
see.
also without fail on her part. So of course, 'di ba, because you live in the same house, so influence ka
Yeah.
na talaga.
I
And
see.
then
Okay. So that explains it. Yeah.
yeah, and later on, sa radio, ano rin siya, nakikinig rin siya ng radio news. Early morning, yun sila,
Okay.
when, well, the late Jotaro, if you're familiar.
Yes. Yeah.
The late Rock, favorite niya yan. Yung sa
Mm-hmm.
DZRH, the news.
I see.
Yung
Okay.
DMM, nakikinig-kinig din siya dyan. Of late ha,
Okay.
when already this became popular na, di ba? But early
Right.
on,
Yeah.
it's the classic broadsheet newspapers that we have at home.
Mm-hmm.
Never fails.
Okay.
Rain or shine. We have
I see.
newspapers at home. Kasi yung delivery boy na nasuki niya,
Mm-hmm.
kahit bumabagyo, nakakapag-deliver yon, ibabalot lang sa plastic, tapos iiwanan dun sa gate. So we still have the newspaper, even if it's,
Yeah.
even if there's a storm. Yung ganun
Let's
ba?
talk
So
about the influence of the internet. Therefore, like, would you
internet,
consider it
maybe.
a better nowadays that we don't need newspapers as much anymore?
Actually, to be honest, uh, I love what's traditional.
I
I
see.
want to go back to the basics.
You want to go
I,
back to newspapers.
of course, I do the internet just to keep up with the times, right? Because may
Mm,
iwanan ka naman if, like,
mm,
um if you don't try to learn it and know about it.
right.
As a natural liking, I don't like online stuff.
I see.
Basically, I don't
When you
really
go
like it.
online, where do you
Basic.
go for news?
You see, I don't even well, on news, like, since I was here, like we call it the CTV news. But I
Okay,
don't get to watch it every day because I don't have
I
a
see.
TV in my place.
Right.
Mm. So it's
Um,
the news feed na lang in the
yeah,
phone,
yeah, right, right.
yeah.
Um, how do you think newspapers will therefore survive in this kind of environment?
Mm,
I mean, I
uh,
don't think it will ever come back, right?
mhm.
The good old,
Like the
good
the
old days. Yeah,
printed thing, right? So
yeah. Like
like the
you should
papers
see
now.
newspapers nowadays. They're so thin. But it used to be a time when they were so
Yeah,
thick, right?
because
Yeah,
even the advertisers
yeah.
um
Have
have
migrated.
have
Yeah.
have decreased
Right.
tremendously
Yeah.
advertising on print, diba?
Right.
Because
Yeah.
there's already the internet advertising, there's already
Right.
online advertising. So that's where they have been to since, the traditional paper were yeah, they were affected really,
Yeah.
by
So
the,
you think it would be a good idea for broadsheets to migrate towards the internet, therefore establish their own web pages, as some have done?
and in fact they have, yeah, they have their online edition, right? They already have
Hmm.
their online edition.
Do you
And
think that these online editions should be free, or
should be
should
free.
readers be asked to pay for them, just like
um,
readers should pay
um,
for newspapers?
mm, 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 mm. I don't think so, because if internet is like, accessible to everyone for free,
Hmm.
then go along with the uh what is found in online, right? Like the
Right.
content should
Right.
goes with it for free.
I see.
Mm,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, newspapers are really quite an endangered
Yeah, they're
an
very.
endangered breed, so to speak. Yeah.
Mm,
And
mm.
it so happens my brother works in a newspaper. He works for the
Ah,
Inquirer. Yeah.
oh
Okay.
wow, your brother. So Tore,
My
huh?
brother. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mm.
One of the editors. And so I
Ah,
kind of know how it feels like.
how?
I think they have
Mm.
migrated online and they have gone on subscription.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yes,
Mm.
I see. I think
Because
they're just
their
following what.
market
Mm,
has become kind of niche already, right?
right,
Parang
right.
niche na yung naging market nila for the
Yeah,
maybe for certain age brackets na, right? The
right,
older
right.
people
Yeah,
who's really used to reading hard copy
right. Yeah.
newspapers, right?
Since you mentioned that, Ma'am Zen, why is it that the young people don't follow the news as much? What do you think
Do
accounts
not
for that?
do not follow.
Follow the
Do not
news as much. Yeah. It's not like when you were growing up, right? You were exposed to it. But young people
Mhm.
nowadays,
They're not
they,
too much on. They're not
yeah,
into the current events and
yeah, right.
the whole news and all that,
Yeah,
right?
news and all that. Why
Because
is that the case?
yeah, because I think there are a lot of choices already,
Okay.
aside from uh,
Mm,
getting into the news, reading the news, etc.
mhm.
They have a lot of other choices to spend their time with, right? They have the
Mhm. I see.
gaming, the the blogs and all this
Right.
other stuff, right?
Okay.
So a lot of choices already. So that's why parang thin na yung pag-spread nung
I see.
who are into this and that. Yeah.
Yeah, everybody can be in news nowadays. What about
Right.
YouTube as a source of information? Do you think that's reliable?
YouTube.
Yeah.
Because for me, for information, like you say, like not necessarily the news, but
Mhm.
information in general, yes, I would say it's a
Mhm.
good source, because like you can find everything
Right.
in YouTube, right?
Yeah.
Um,
You can learn
mga
how to
like
cook in YouTube.
yeah, a
Yeah.
lot. So
Okay.
to me, I
But
like
for serious pieces of information, you're saying we should go somewhere else.
serious pieces of information.
Right.
You can go
News.
directly
Yeah.
to the
Mhm.
websites of the news organizations, if it's
I
news
see.
that you right, you can like
Right.
zero in already on their website,
Okay.
right?
All right. Okay. And then, ma'am, one tough question about news. Do you think news organizations should be fully objective, unbiased, or do they have a responsibility to be expository, to act like a fiscalizer? What do you think they should be?
News organizations, the news
Yes.
organizations.
I mean, it's like two sides of a coin, right? There are some who just simply report the facts, but there are some who are very opinionated. So, which
Mhm.
one should they be, do you think?
As a news organization,
Mhm.
they should really be foremost the deliverer of news as it is, right?
Okay.
Because anyway, they have like if they do have their editors, they
Right.
have sections which are really like there's like columnists,
Hmm.
or correspondents who is in
Yeah.
charge of specific sections. So if it's a column, then of course you'll really get more of opinions there, right?
I see.
It's
Okay.
editorial talaga, it's editorialized, because
Mhm. I
it's
see.
managed by a columnist, by an editor. But
Right.
for like being a news organization per se, I
Right.
think
What about as an organization per se?
yeah, they have to be really just the deliverer of news as it is. News,
Okay.
no unbiased, just reporting it straight as it is.
Do you
As
think they should be investigative in a way,
oh yes.
exposing all sorts of irregularities? Is that what news
Mm-mm-mm-mm.
should be? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. On one hand, yeah, they have to take that role as well.
Hmm.
Mm.
Okay.
Because they have the like they have the resources, they have the authority to do
Hmm.
that, right?
Okay. All right.
All the facts that they have and their
Yeah.
access to this and that, yeah,
Right.
they can do that. And there's such a thing really, right, that they have developed
Right.
investigative journalism, right, on
Yeah.
TV, di ba?
Some news organizations are quite radical, right? They are
Yeah.
really
And
very
also like
investigative. Yeah.
even in the Philippines we have that, right? Yung I
Right.
think it's managed or headed by Malu Mangahas ba yun? The
Yeah.
Philippine Investigative
The
Journalism thing,
Yeah,
right?
the Philippine Center for
Mhm.
Investigative Journalism.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah,
One of
correct.
the leads there is Malu Mangahas.
Right. Yeah.
Other
What comes to mind to me is the New York Times. They really have a lot of contacts, right? We have a lot of exposés. I mean,
ah
wow. Yeah, very
mga
expansive.
story. Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Uh,
Uh, this is really
mm.
controversial, so I can't help but ask these questions. uh,
Okay.
okay. And then, do you believe that news should welcome advertisers into their publications at the risk of affecting their reportage on certain people? For
Mm,
example, like you have advertisers from big companies, and then so all of a sudden you have an expose that relates to one of the advertisers. That should
mm,
therefore news welcome such advertisers?
mm-mm. In that situation, I would think they have to prioritize news over the personality, mm, over the
So that's a tough
advertising.
call, right? Because advertisers bring in
Mhm.
a lot of money. Yeah,
Yes, it's a tough call. But if you go back to why are they there? Why are they there as a news organization? What is their essence?
hmm
Of being there in the first
hmm
place. Why were they created? Why were they
right.
organized? It's for
Yeah,
news, right?
right.
So that
Yeah.
should be their priority from start to
Okay.
finish.
They
To
shouldn't lose
speak.
sight of that fact. But
Yeah.
that being the
The
case,
reason for being it. It's their reason for being. That's
right?
their mission and vision is
Correct.
toward
Yes.
news. Yeah.
Again, since you mentioned that, Namzen, why do we therefore need a free media? Like if we were to talk to Kim Jong Un of North Korea, maybe you'll try to convince him. Mr.
Mhm.
President, we need
Mm, 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 mm,
a supreme being.
mm. So
We
why
need a
why
free media. How would
yeah.
you convince him of the need for this?
Nako,
Why do we have to
but
have media?
his hardcore. I mean, diba, like
Yeah,
being
he's
communist
hardcore authoritarian. Yeah,
leader of a communist country. So it would really be hard. In fact, I would think he's really, like he's close. His mind is close. That's it.
right. Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
I see.
So yeah, I don't think
It would.
he would that it will be worth
I
convincing
see.
him, right? I
It's
mean,
not even worth the effort, right? Yeah.
yeah, to be
Okay.
practical about it, like he's
Yeah.
through the years you can see how he has led the country.
Right. Yeah.
Core talaga hardcore na yun parang,
Right.
di ba?
But what is there for the role of media as regards to nation building? It's a tough one, Mamzel.
Oo, yeah,
And
it's a tough
you're the one to
one.
answer that. I
Mm.
know.
Oo, parang daig mo pa yung examiner, ah.
No, I'm sure
Um,
you have opinions on this one.
yeah, but
Yeah.
ano ito,
For example, in light
according
of the closure of ABS-CBN, we know that's a political decision, right?
yes,
So,
yes.
yeah. So why
So
is ABS-CBN important
to a country,
to our country? Yeah,
to our country, yeah.
right.
Because media is media. I mean, 'di ba parang siya yung the four estates that we call, right? Isa dun yung is
Correct.
media.
Yeah, yeah. Media is a fourth estate. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So with that, I mean, just that as the a basis,
Mhm.
like media's role cannot be understated. You know how big a role they play. Because as a source of information, of education, and um, what's this? It's also a um, like an indicator, how the country is um, uh, progressing, with
Mhm.
media has a role to play there,
Right,
um, because it's a big influencer,
right,
media, and being the very source of information in covering the entire country.
right.
So it's a
Yeah,
big thing. Information is really a key anywhere.
I
Like
see.
information is a key to
I see.
communication,
Uh,
information, right? These
in a
are
way, do you think that media is there for like a safeguard against abuse by government?
oh yes, yeah, in a way, yes. With media's power to expose, diba? They
Right.
can come up with exposés. So that can be a great fiscalizer, like you said. And they're like they can help police, government, politicians,
Okay. I
government
see.
officials, right?
Right.
uh, like there's really the so-called power of media. That's true.
Okay.
That-
All right.
it's at You can see that, yeah, the power of
All right.
media. Mm-hmm.
Okay, Ma'am Zen, we're going into part two.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, yeah, we were talking about media, and then you just have all the words related to it: editorialized, columnist, a correspondent, hardcore, the fourth estate, an indicator, an influencer, cannot be understated. Nice.
Their role, yeah.
Their role is to police government, keep up with the times, a rich tool, a sucker for news,
Source of information
a source
and
of information, keep abreast. I'm
what
writing
you
all
call
of these down. Okay.
okay.
All of these terminologies relate to media. Wow.
Okay.
So nice.
Yeah.
Okay. So, ma'am, we're going to do a part two. So, for the second part, I'd like you to talk about the topic. And before you talk, you will have 1 minute to prepare your answer, which will not be given.
So talaga ano IELTS pattern talaga to, ha? Mm.
IELTS pattern. So, ma'am, I would just like you to talk 2 minutes about a certain topic, which you will make a story out of. So, the topic is tell me about the time when you had to make an important decision in life. What a nice one, right?
Describe the
Ready, ma'am?
time.
Yes.
Describe.
A time when you
Okay.
had to make an important decision in life. Tell me when you're ready, Ma'am Zen.
1 minute only. One
Two
minute
minutes.
only. Two
Two
minutes.
minutes. There's no 1 minute
Ah,
preparation time.
what? Important decision.
I think I
Yeah.
know what you're gonna mention.
The power of thought.
Yeah.
Okay. What ba? Okay, yeah, sure. I can
Ready?
start. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Sorry,
Yeah,
ma'am. I
so
didn't give you the 1 minute.
ah, okay na, sige, basta whatever I get to say.
Right, right. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
A
So
big
first,
life decision.
yeah, first, no, in the past I've been confronted with to make a decision, and these are like important decisions, because these are like when you hit what they say, crossroad in your life, right? So
Mhm.
one such time was when my mom, my nanay, got sick, seriously sick. And at the
Mhm.
time, my brother was already here in Canada, as well as yeah, some members of the family were already here. So I was like um alone, with my young nephews and niece. So like I have to make a tough decision, whether I how I'm gonna handle it. Will I, because at the time I was still working in advertising, in an advertising agency, and you know how life is in advertising, especially in a work in an agency environment. um so like I have to make the decision whether, do I stay in advertising, because I know that it will really be, tough times are ahead at the time. I have to closely manage, administer my mom as she recovers. No? So she just had, a major surgery, and so like so many things were going on. I was guardian also of my young nephews because my brother was already here in Canada. And then I have two households to manage, their household, my household, and then on top of that, my mom who got sick that time.
Thank
So
you, Ma'am
we
Chen.
really needs company. So I have to make the decision whether, I remain in advertising, or do I kind of do a shift somehow in my job,
Ma'am Chen, that's two
in order,
minutes.
yeah, in order that I
Okay.
can take care of my mom. So the
What
decision was
was
to
the
leave.
decision? Oh my
I
God.
Yeah, I have to leave advertising.
You left such a
Because
lucrative job.
but although I've been there already for many years, so like
Okay.
it's okay. Like at that point in time, I said I have to prioritize, of course, my mom, right? That's family.
Correct. Yeah.
What is work or job to family,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Right.
So so I made the decision, although
What?
it was a hard one. It was
Mm-mm.
also a hurting one, like to
Right.
leave advertising and all the, the perks there and all that. And I've been there
Right.
because I've been there for many years. So like it was
Right.
also, it's hard to part from something that you've been with and you've been so accustomed already, right?
Mm-mm.
But then I have to make the decision because I know that I cannot do it simultaneously, being in a job like advertising,
Yeah,
and
that's quite impossible, right? Yeah,
at the same time closely watch my mom.
I
So
see.
since
What
there at the
agency
time,
were you working for, man?
various agencies, but I would tell you I was with the largest agency, McCann Erickson.
McCann Erickson.
I
Oh,
was there for
wow.
like 8 years. That's
8 years.
like 8 years, the longest agency where I stayed. I mean, that's the longest time I stayed in an agency. So it was with
Wow.
Macan.
That was
But at the
big.
time
That
I
was like
left,
a dream agency for a lot of my classmates. Yeah,
really okay. So
from
I was with,
college. Yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah.
I was because of Com Arts, diba?
Mm-mm.
So
Mm.
mm, mm, mm.
A lot of
So
my batchmates went into advertising. Wow, lots of
mm,
money there.
mm,
Lots of
mm.
money there.
Yeah, and I was we were lucky also that during that time it was Macan. We were there when Macan was at its best,
Peak.
when it was at the
Right.
top. when
Yeah,
we
there's a
had
lot of competition nowadays, right? There's a lot of
we had
smaller agencies. Yeah.
yes. And well, sadly Macan has kind of, they have downsized, I think. Well,
I
that's what
see.
I know, because they've lost a good number of accounts in the
Right,
last
right.
10, 15 years. They've lost Pilsen, they've lost
Mhm.
Nestle.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, since I left, marami nang nawala from them. Big
Yeah,
accounts.
marami ring kahuyan sa ad agencies, no? Some of my friends have actually moved to, the more, I would say they were more like independent agencies. Yeah.
Yeah. Because at the time I left, the independent media that they call
Mhm,
just started.
mhm.
Independent
Mm,
na siya, media. Where
I see.
before in an agency, the three major groups, account management, creative, and media. But at the time I left,
Okay.
that's when the media independence started. So
Oh,
media
see.
independence, just
I
media.
see.
So
I see.
naghiwalay na. They were separated already. So there was an
Mm,
agency. There are agencies that's just creative, and then agencies that's just media. So media, that's why
yeah.
media in
Right. And they
always
lost a lot
together.
of good people as well, right?
Yeah.
Some of their
So but
people just put up their own
together,
agencies. Yeah.
accounts and creatives were still
I
always
see.
together in one agency.
Oh,
It was media that kind of got out of the circle, and they
right.
became media independence. That's why it's called
I
media
see.
independence. And
I see.
that's when Macan lost a good number of
Mhm.
accounts. Yeah. So
Right.
now
Yeah.
they're not as big as they were before.
Right. Yeah.
Right. So we
Okay.
were lucky then that at the time we were there, that was the time when
Yeah, they were like the kings.
golden years. It
The
was one
golden
of
years.
the golden years of Macan, when they earned
Yeah.
when they won Pale Pale San Miguel.
Oh,
Because at the time,
wow.
wherever San Miguel Pale Pale San is, that becomes the number one agency. Mm-mm.
Wow. How
Mm.
fast things change, right? Yeah.
Mm, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm, right. Remember the Fernando Po campaign of Pale Pale Sen? I think that's one of the last that
Really.
produced. Yeah.
I
Fernando
see.
Po, when he was still alive.
Yeah. I was still alive.
Oh.
Yeah, even
So
San
you
Miguel
I have to
has
make the
diversified
decision.
big time into infrastructure. Can you imagine that? How things change, right?
So
Yeah.
that was the time when I have to make the decision. I left the agency. I left advertising, and because the at the time the uh what's this business processing industry was in a roll, so everywhere there were call centers, and there
I
was
see.
like an entire complex in
Mm-hmm.
Alabang, which is near our place.
Oh,
There's
okay.
call centers, okay,
Right.
except for the
Yeah.
hotel and the fast foods, the rest are call
Right.
centers. So parang baybayin mo lang yon, may
Yeah.
makakapasok. So that's why I switched to customer service, to business processing,
Mm-hmm.
because there's there it's nearby our place, so any
Mm-hmm.
time that
I
there's an
see.
emergency, I
I
can just
see.
run quickly back home, right? So
Okay.
it
I
happened
see.
like around, maybe like it happened twice that I have to go back home. So
Ah,
it was
okay.
tama
So
lang that
convenient.
I
Yeah.
was just really 30
How's
minutes a
how
week.
did it turn out with your mom?
So she had a major surgery, and then after that,
What was the
because
surgery like?
it was successful, um, but because of her age,
Mm-hmm.
the recovery was kind of slow.
Okay.
Like she couldn't, since the time she had the surgery. After that, like she couldn't uh get up by herself. She cannot
She became
get up from
immobile.
bed
I
by
see.
herself. She cannot stand on her own. Like she
Okay.
needed really intensive therapy, but because of her
Right.
age, like
Yeah.
we cannot also like subject her to really
Oh, I
strenuous
see.
therapy, that may
Mm-hmm.
um make it difficult for her also, right? Because of her age.
Right.
She was like, when she had surgery, she was 78 years old.
Oh,
But the good,
she's like at
yeah,
the same age my mom is right now, and my mom is kind of like in the
um,
same condition. Yeah.
yeah, late 70s,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
And then so she was 78, but you know what? She after surviving the pulling through the surgery,
Mm-hmm.
she stayed on pa for 8 years until she passed
Oh, I
away.
see. I
So
see.
like, it was also worth it, whatever that, the
Right.
sacrifice we had to go through, because at least 8 long years, right? It was still
Yeah. Yeah.
8 long years
Wow.
of with her.
She was
So
strong. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So although
I
in
see.
those 8 years, she was kind of just what's this, bedbound. She was more,
Yeah.
yeah, bedridden. But
Bedridden. Yeah.
yeah, good thing that she is just able to speak. She's able to
I see.
converse. Like her mental faculty
Yeah.
is not an issue. She was okay,
Right.
except
That's
that
good.
in her movements, like
I see.
she's dependent
I
on
see.
in order to to walk, to stand up, but all others, she's just okay. She can converse. She
Right.
can watch TV. She can still watch her news.
She can
So
still get her
except that,
daily dose of the news.
yeah,
Yeah.
but of course she cannot read on her own now. But kung
Yeah.
pipilitin, she can still read. But then we don't let her read. We
Yeah.
just read for her. We just let her watch the news and listen to the radio news.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
at least may
That's
uh,
yeah. Mhm.
appreciation pa rin, para may quality of life pa rin kahit papaano. Except
Okay.
that she cannot just move on her own.
Okay.
That was it. But at least we're very thankful of the 8 long years that she was still with
Right.
us before she
Yeah.
passed.
That's
Yeah.
actually why a lot of nurses are needed abroad because, in the West, they have institutionalized care homes, right?
Yes, right,
Yeah.
right. It's a
You need a lot of
profitable.
nurses for these. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a lucrative business.
Yeah.
Elderly home. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Mm-mm.
True.
Yeah,
Correct.
like in a country like Canada, because we have an old population.
Right.
So there are really a lot of elderly homes here anywhere you
Right.
go. And
Right.
it's good business, because at a
Yeah.
certain age, like families would really tend to bring their old
Yeah.
folks, the
Hmm.
elderly, because they're still busy,
Those who cannot
working.
possibly look after the elderly, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay.
And then they visit them every week and all that. So
Right.
it has become like a tradition
Right.
that
Yeah.
you bring your old folks in the elderly
Yeah.
homes when they
I
reach.
guess, yeah, it just kind of shows you how rich the countries are, right? They have money to take care of
Yeah.
their
Uh.
citizens in their twilight
Mm-mm.
years. Yeah.
Mm-mm. And there's really a what they call some kind of a ministry of
Oh, there is.
elderly
Ooh.
people or something like
Oh,
that.
wow. That's so
Yeah,
nice.
there's really yeah, it's like like Department of Education, right?
Right, right, right. Yeah.
It
It's an
manages
entire
everything.
government ministry.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
in charge of
So
everything about
nice.
education. But this one, they have this kind of arm in the government that takes care of everything about the senior, the elderly,
Right.
all that. Yeah.
Wow, so nice. Okay. Ma'am, let's talk
Mm.
about decisions. So, how do you come about part three questions, Ma'am Zena? We're about to end, ma'am. I hope I'm not
Okay.
taking too much of your time. I know it's late already in Canada right now.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
how would you advise people who are about to make a difficult decision? Wait. I thought you were gonna mention, although what you mentioned was actually quite significant. I thought you were gonna mention the decision to
To
leave
come
for
here.
abroad. Yeah,
Here. Yeah, I
yeah.
also
How
thought
did
of
you
that.
come about that decision?
Because um well, for one thing, my immediate family is here. I'm the last to
Mm,
go, actually,
so that makes it
because
kind of easy to
because
decide
I
on,
had
right?
to, yeah, because I had to take care of our mom. That's why I
Mhm.
stayed on yet
I
for
see.
some years, right?
Okay.
Until
But
until
generally, yeah, if people will make that decision of like leaving for abroad, how would you advise them?
if they want to migrate.
Yeah, because
Right?
there are a lot of people who are quite hesitant to go abroad.
Mm-mm.
So, what would you tell them? It's a big decision, a life
Yeah,
decision,
it's a
right?
big
Yeah,
decision. It's a
it's a
big decision.
crossroad, like you mentioned, right?
Yeah, whether
It is
you proceed, you go left, you go right, parang ganun, no?
right. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um,
And then it's like there's no turning back, right?
yes, there's no
So, what
turning
would you
back.
advise them?
My advice is that really they weigh the pros and cons very
Mm-mm.
carefully. Okay, like consider everything, consider everything, and they
Okay.
shouldn't just think of it once or twice, but really, um, really, uh, a lot time really to discuss it with family also,
Mm.
all all people concerned, discuss
Okay.
it freely,
Generally,
weigh the
would you
pros and cons.
advise, yeah, generally, would you advise in favor of leaving for abroad?
Well, if the opportunity is there, and
Mm.
like it offers really, you can envision for yourself and your family that life will be better, then
Mm.
why not, right? Brace
Okay.
yourself,
It's
although
gonna
you
cost a lot of money. Is this worth it?
because once you get to work
Mhm.
in that new country, in that second country, once you get
Mhm.
to work, you can start, um recover what you have spent
Mhm.
for, right? I mean, there's
I see.
always the opportunity that you can recoup and recover what you have spent for, like what I'm doing now.
Right,
I
right.
spent
Yeah.
so much in coming here as an international student, because like I think I
Mhm.
mentioned it in the our first meeting, right? That as international students we pay like four times more, four to five times
Mhm.
more than the locals. That's how
Yeah,
big the
quite a
difference is,
hefty
right?
amount of money.
But
Yeah.
then yeah, when you start working, you will realize that somehow you're able to recoup this expenses, because you earn them in peso, you spent in
Mhm.
peso, right, coming
Yeah.
here,
Yeah.
and here you earn in Canadian dollars, of course.
Okay.
And then
I see.
you realize that, okay, it took me maybe a year to earn that peso amount
Mhm.
coming here,
Okay.
but I can recoup that in less than a year because of my
Okay.
Canadian uh,
I see.
change rate, right? The value of Canadian money is much higher.
Yeah, right.
So
When making a big decision, would you recommend that you decide with your heart or with your mind?
combination, but I would
Mhm.
say more of the heart.
I see.
Yeah,
What does your
kasi
heart tell you?
yeah, the heart is for me it's the core. Yeah.
Mhm. Okay.
To the
Um,
brain. That's not to say that
mhm.
uh you don't apply, thinking, careful thinking and
Okay.
planning.
I see.
Mm.
What about
Mm-mm-mm.
risk taking? Why are some people averse towards taking risks?
Yes. Well, it's a mindset, I would say.
Mhm. Mhm.
Because you can't really get away from risk completely. There's always risk, diba?
Mhm. Right. Yeah.
If you come to think of it, there's always risk.
I
In
see. That's a nice way of looking at it, right?
Yeah, in every little thing you do, from the little to the biggest thing that you do, there's
I
always
see.
risk. Yeah, right. In
I see.
session, there's always risk because you don't know really what's gonna happen. But there's also like the calculated risk, right?
So what's
So
that?
uh, what I know from my experience, like you kind of reduce the risk as much as you can, right? So
Okay.
calculated risk, like a informed decisions, right? So the more
Okay.
informed you are making a decision, I think that can lessen your risk, right?
So when making a big decision, you have to study up for it, right?
Yeah, yeah. Study the
Mm-hmm.
situation, weigh things,
Mm-hmm.
um, analyze things, and that's why it's also good that you discuss it with the people involved, with your
Mm-hmm.
family,
I
because
see.
they have their inputs as well, right? Their
Right.
own take,
Yeah.
you
Okay.
know,
What
and
about,
it's a family decision,
yeah?
right?
What about parenthood? Do you think parents should train their children to make decisions by themselves? Is that a good idea?
For their children.
Yes.
Yes, because eventually this children, these kids will be adults. They will be independent. They will live their own life. So it's best that they're also equipped with with
Mhm.
how to make decisions.
I see.
The
You don't think this can be dangerous to empower a child to decide for himself or herself?
well, for not depends like um
Mhm.
when we're talking maybe of really child, so like not in the it's still a minor, maybe that's when it really needs
Okay,
guidance.
I
Yeah,
see. It depends on the age of the child.
kind of,
Mhm.
yeah.
Mhm.
Because legally you're obliged to still guide your a minor, right?
Right.
You're still obliged to
Yeah.
guide. So
Yeah. It's a legal obligation.
yeah,
Right.
so you still
Mhm.
have legal and moral, I would say, right? That you still
Mhm.
be there
Okay.
really
All right.
guide the child. But
And
as
one
they
final question. Yeah. As they
Mhm.
grow up. Yeah.
Yeah, as they grow up, yeah, let them learn, how to
Mhm.
be independent and
So
to
this
also.
entails like allowing them to make mistakes to a certain extent.
Oh yes, yes, because it's also true that from committing mistakes you learn,
Mhm.
right?
Okay.
Out of these mistakes you learn, and that's the good thing that can come out of
I see.
mistakes, of errors, of
I
bad
see.
experiences, because that's where you learn best, right?
Okay. It's just like IELTS, right?
Right?
Okay.
You have to
Yeah.
think of it. When you commit the mistake, you kind
Mhm.
of really learn from it because it gets stuck in your mind, in
Right.
your experience, right?
I see.
So
Yeah, true.
don't be
Yeah,
afraid to
I
commit
always,
mistakes.
yeah, I always tell the students the best lessons are the ones you learn
Mistakes.
from your mistakes. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
right.
Okay.
Right.
And finally, ma'am, oh, there was a final question. I suddenly lost it. Wait, wait, wait.
You
A final question.
the speaking exam proper.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
Yeah,
remember it.
we,
So,
we tackled that also. Mm.
do you
Yeah, yeah,
think
go ahead.
that there's do you think that there's something worse than regret? Oh,
Worse
what a
than
heavy question.
parang ano parang pang Miss Universe ba yan Q&A, Q&A.
Miss
What
you yung
can be
tanong.
worse than regret? What
Mm,
can be worse than regret?
yeah,
Um,
like that's heavy, right? Regret. Things you could have done but you didn't do.
yes, yes,
Mm,
yes.
mm,
Yeah, I
mm.
think it equates with missing the opportunity,
Right.
missing an opportunity, right?
Yeah. Hmm.
Missing an opportunity. Parang nakakabit din siya sa regret, di ba?
Yeah.
Uh, because
Like
because
it's
you
gonna
did not take it,
you're gonna carry this all your life, right?
you miss the opportunity, right? And that's where your regret is centered on.
Yeah.
We miss the opportunity. So I would think that when there's the opportunity, take
Mhm.
it, take the calculated risk, because
Okay.
like you said, it will never, if it happens only once, so uh right, sayang naman. So
Hmm.
like
Yeah.
when I decided coming here,
Yeah.
I was telling myself, okay, if I stay in the Philippines, it wouldn't be any different from the life
Hmm.
that I have now here, still here in the
Yeah.
Philippines, right?
Right.
So I
Right.
said,
So
yeah, so
true.
I said,
Yeah.
I better take the opportunity. The opportunity is there. I can
Hmm.
join my family. I can study again. And
Right.
even if, let's say, it's starting all over, but I
Hmm.
said, parang it's most likely that I may regret it if I don't take
I
that
see.
plunge to
What
come
a
here.
nice thought to end our discussion, right, man?
Diba?
I remember when I was in GBS, I would actually
Mm.
ask the students, like, you guys, you're sure you want to do this? And then, almost all the time I get that reaction from them, like, yeah, yeah, I mean, we want to leave. Like,
Yeah,
I would
because
really confront them with that question. Are you sure
mm,
you want to do this? You want to leave the country and go to this strange land where
and you know
people you
what?
don't know? Mhm.
Yeah, and you know what? They say that when you migrate in a place, it on the average it will take one like 10 years to be fully immersed
I
uh
see.
in
Oh,
that
okay.
second country. On the
Yeah,
average, right, will take 1 to 10 years
right.
to be,
Yeah.
to be really set up well already in that
Mm-mm.
country. And I think
Right.
that it's true. Yeah, because
Yeah.
for some of my friends who've been here, like,
Mm.
yeah, it took them like about 10 years
Mm.
before that they can at least by after 10 years they have a place of their own. They
I
have
see. Wow.
already, and
They
yeah,
tick all the boxes.
then the kids are in school, or the kids are already into jobs. So
Right.
yeah, they're already um they already lead a career where they're working. So it really
Correct.
takes about 10 years. So those are the things that you have to like prepare yourself. Okay, now are
Yeah.
you
Mm.
really willing to like start all over, and will take you 10
Right.
years. Yung
Yeah.
ganon. So
Start all over, take the opportunity. These are collocations. Missing an opportunity. You had words like independent, analyze,
weigh
phrases like weigh things, an
pros
informed
and cons.
decision, a calculated risk, reduce
Mm-mm.
the risk. Uh,
Mhm.
you were talking about your mom and you were mentioning about her mental faculty, being bedridden or bedbound, subject to strenuous therapy, and
Mm-mm.
closely monitor simultaneously. It'd be hard to simultaneously
Work in
work while
in a job with
looking
advertising.
after your mom. Yeah, that was
Yeah.
when you used it. Accustomed
Mm.
to there. On top of that, this is why you scored a 9. Ma'am. You just threw all of these. There, that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Very nice.
Mm-hmm.
No? That explains it. I mean, it's we have your mom to thank for
Yes,
exposing you to all
right,
those
right.
newspapers.
You're right. Mhm. And she's really particular about, like, she would correct us if she hears something this or that, or she
Mhm.
she she sees on the paper how we spell this word. She would correct us.
Wow,
That type
she was so
of
conscientious. Was she a
yeah.
teacher?
No, but she was inclined in
Mm,
academe, in studies,
I
yung ganon.
see. Yeah, she
She
sounded like one. Yeah,
Yeah, she finished uh what's this? Two degrees.
she
She
did.
earned 2 degrees. She
Wow.
earned two degrees. While
Okay.
working already, her second degree dito na sa Manila, she was working
Wow.
already. And then,
Okay.
basta ganun siya. She's into, she values education. Yun
All
din ang
right.
ano, parang
I see.
yeah, one of his I would say parang ano niya yung iniwan niya,
All right.
legacy,
The
her
legacy that
value
she
for
left for her
education.
children. Yeah.
Value for education talaga, because all our kamag-anaks, all our relatives na bumibisita sa bahay, talagang sasabihan niya yan, oh, make sure ha, patapusin ng mga bata, blah 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 blah. So she
Right.
really
Yeah.
values education. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
That's why
Ganun.
study hard, guys, for the IELTS.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
I'm sure there
yeah.
will be, yeah, you were gonna say,
Yeah,
ma'am.
yeah. They have questions. Yeah, they have
Yeah.
questions.
Uh, I'm sure the others might have questions for Ma'am Zen, but we're not going to include that in the interview anymore. We'll continue our discussion off camera. But in the meantime, for all of you listening, we'd like to thank Ma'am Zen for the time that she's given us. I mean, it's almost midnight in Canada right now, but she's
It's
still with
okay, it's
us.
okay. Day off
Much
ko naman.
appreciated. Yeah. And thank
Mm.
you, Ma'am Zen. Thank you for giving us a
Mm.
snippet of
Yeah. Oh,
what a
no, yeah,
band nine
my
speaker
pleasure, my
is.
pleasure. Yeah,
Yeah.
anytime, because like in any way that I can help, okay lang.
Right.
I
Yeah, I
gladly,
appreciate
yeah,
the fact that the pastors are helping
gladly
out.
do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
yun lang, yung parang ano lang is that they just keep in mind what the examiners are looking for, and
Mm,
then meet those things that they're looking for. So particularly in speaking,
mm-mm.
fluency. I've mentioned this in the first
Yeah.
interview.
Right.
Fluency, the range and accuracy, and pronunciation. So yung
Mm-mm.
pronunciation doesn't mean that you should sound like a speech professor. Hindi naman ganun yun. But as
Yeah.
long as you are understood,
Mm-mm.
you speak clearly, and you are understood by the person you're talking with. That's it.
Mm-mm. Yeah.
Pronunciation na yon. Ibig sabihin, you're okay because you are clearly understood, right? So
Yeah.
don't pretend to be a British. You don't have to have an accent. Just be
Mm-mm.
yourself. Just be your Filipino self. In fact, they love our
Yeah.
accent. We call it the neutral accent.
The neutral accent. Yeah.
Yeah.
In fact, it's one of the reasons why I wanted the students to hear you, because you had this accent when you were in the test and you scored a 9 for it. So you are the testament to that fact, right? You don't
Yeah.
need to sound Canadian or
Yes,
American.
yes. No, no, you
But
don't have to.
particularly, it was really in language. No, man. It was just, you just had the language chops to begin with.
Yeah,
Like your
yeah,
grammatical
like I
range was
said,
there,
uh,
and the lexicon
kasi
was also there. Mhm.
actually, yeah, to be honest, talagang hindi, I have not really reviewed. I would
Mhm.
say I wouldn't say that I did some hardcore review or thorough review. No, I did not. In fact, to be honest, parang cramming nga ako eh.
Yeah, you told us the last time, right?
Yeah, last
Yeah.
minute lang yung parang pag-refresh ko, because my only pinaka review was to refresh myself how each of
Mhm.
these exams are conducted, paano na nga ba
Mhm.
yun, ano na nga ba yung yes, no, not given, ano na nga ba yun, yung parang I was just refreshing myself on those. But I did not review as in I have to take the mock test or something. No, hindi na. Like in
Yeah.
speaking, parang yung
Mhm.
pinaka-shortcut way ko lang doon of reviewing is that those things that they said they're looking for. Parang
Mhm.
tinatag ko lang sa
Yeah,
isip ko yun. And
I
I
see.
was just really being very mindful of it.
Mhm.
So like, okay, fluency. O sige, I'm mindful about fluency. So parang you avoid pauses. Like it
Yeah.
wouldn't appear that you're thinking pa of what to say. So yun yung fluency na sinasabi nila eh. Dapat
Yeah,
continuous
since
yung
you
idea.
mentioned fluency, like high scorers, band 8, 8.59, like Nick
Mm-mm.
Hieronimo, for example, Justina was one of them, 8.5. One like you as well, naman. One characteristic about these people is they just can't stop talking. like,
Dal,
like you couldn't get a word
daldalin.
in, like, andaldal.
Talkative, yeah,
Yeah,
talkative, yeah.
talkative, very talkative.
Mm.
These are
Mm.
the kinds of people who
The
score
common denominator namin yun ba?
the common denominator among all of these, that you have so much to say.
Yeah, yeah. But when you
Yeah.
get there, you have to also be mindful that you just give the what's enough answer. Yung parang the
Mm,
length is just enough, not too short,
I
not too
see.
long. Also
Okay.
be mindful of
So
that. Kasi if
you
it's
were
too
mindful
short,
of that. Yeah.
not too short, not too long, and always
Okay.
complete your sentence. Complete your
I see.
sentence. They cannot
Okay.
assess you if you don't complete your sentence, right?
Mhm.
An
Yeah.
incomplete sentence, a phrase only,
Mm-hmm.
ano yung grammar doon sa phrase? Wala, 'di ba?
Mm-hmm.
So how can they assess you properly? So you have
Yeah.
to answer in complete sentences, even if it's
Okay.
just short sentence, basta complete yung sentence. And be mindful, of
Yeah.
course, of grammar. 'Di ba? I think
Yeah.
last time I mentioned about the common errors
Mm-hmm.
in grammar. Yun lang, just avoid those.
Yeah.
Okay na.
Okay. Right.
Yeah. And of course,
Thanks
yun nga,
again, Ma'am Sen.
vocabulary and all that. Yeah, you know that already, Junie, the guru.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry,
The
I'm so
the Dalai
matanda.
Lama. Yeah. Sige, we'll segue to the
Yeah.
questions of the students in the meantime.
Ah,
But
meron ba? Meron ba? Sige, okay,
yeah,
sure.
yeah, don't leave yet, Ma'am Sen. I'm just gonna cut the recording for a while. And so
Okay.
everybody, thank you again, Ma'am Sen.
Sure.
So with this recording, we have immortalized one of our students. You will live
So thank you
forever
to you.
as long as there's the YouTube server. You will always be there, Ma'am Sen. We have immortalized the performance of a band nine speaker for the IELTS exam. You
Mm.
heard what it sounds like. And don't forget the tips that she has given you. These are as precious as gold. It it is the equivalent of wealth and
Well,
opportunity
then.
and a lifetime of bliss and harmony in a foreign land.
Okay.
compare compare that to a life of misery, poverty.
Under the 30.
Well,
Parang
that
di
kind of
political
rhyme,
na.
that kind of rhyme. Sige guys, thank you again. And once again, don't forget to click like and subscribe and hit the notification bell. More interviews coming, more lessons coming. Lots to
Mm.
learn. Thank you,
Mm.
everybody. Bye.
Okay.